Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's good? So, in this audio video, I wanted to talk about screening chicks to see if they like you, right? And the reason why you want to screen chicks, and basically what that means is to test them, to check to see if they like you, is because you don't want to have to waste time with girls who don't like you. And what happens is that a lot of times, guys, when you get with girls or you talk to girls, you will sort of like kind of take your time with them, or you're kind of just beating around the bush. You know, you might have a girl in your school or a girl around your way or a girl that you see all the time that you like. And, you kind of talk to her, but you don't really, you're not really pushing it. You're not really trying to, get her information and take her out and flirt with her and seeing what's popping. You understand? And sometimes when you do actually get a girl's number, or you hit her up, or you holler at a girl, you might get her number, but you're kind of taking it a little too slow. You're hitting her up and she's like sort of giving you the runaround, and you're still like, hitting her up after she kind of like been giving you that wishy-washy maybe answer and all this other different stuff. So basically, I wanted, to tell you about screening chicks to see if they like you, so you don't waste your time with girls who don't like you. And this is the thing you got to understand about women and when women really like you. The thing is, when girls really like you and they're into you, they're going to cooperate. They're going to, be physical with you. They're going to really make it easy for you. You understand? And the reason why a lot of guys don't understand this is because a lot of guys guys who have limited experience with women kind of don't really know, basically like you don't really see like the two different perspectives. Meaning, if you don't have that much interactions with women, let's say like most of your interactions with women are you getting rejected, or you not, having a lot of sex, or, girls just kind of like playing you and stuff like that. So then you start to think that this is sort of the norm, or, that girls are just hard to get. It's hard to get chicks because every time I try to get chicks, they flake, they bullshit and all this other stuff, right? So what happens is that since that's your reality, you forget how it feels to be with a chick who actually likes you. You understand? You forget how easy a chick will make it when she's into you. You understand? And this comes from you, not really having that much experience with girls, and most of the experience with women is like a lot of rejection and shit. And, a lot of times that happens because you're not really talking to more women. You're not putting yourself out there more to get to the chicks who actually cooperate and really like you. And the thing is, the girls who really like you, again, they're going to make it easy, and you're going to just be like, wow, this is some really cool, easy shit. Like, why the fuck was I worrying with, messing with these other girls who was on some bullshit, right? So, I'll give you some examples of stuff that, happened to me and stuff that I've done. And I'll show you what I mean by sort of screening and testing these girls fast to see if the chick is into you. So you can see if you should even bother to waste time with her, or, bother to, keep it going, right? So I remember I was at this, it's like a bar/club thing, right? And so I'm talking to this girl, I walk up to her, and she was doing some sort of like Snapchat thing on her phone where she would take some video and like put it up on, upload it or something on her phone. Like, she was doing some goofy shit. So I go up to her and I'm like, yo, what's all this? What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And she's like, oh, I'm doing a Snapchat thing. You should come in the video and blah, blah, blah. So I'm coming in, I came in the video and I'm playing around with her a little bit. So then, we start talking, and she's like, oh, what's your name? And I was like, oh, I'm Locario. And she was like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I can't remember what her name was, but she was like, I'm so-and-so. So right after she says her name, I kind of, get closer to her. And I start talking to her, and I gently put my hand on her leg, right? And my hand was on her leg for maybe like not even half a second. And this chick quickly removes my hand from her leg, right? So that was telling me that she wasn't into me enough for me to keep my hand on her leg. You understand? Now, some guys who are not that experienced with women, and will say, oh well, maybe she just wasn't comfortable with your hand on her leg. Now again, I'm going to say this again. If a woman is really, really, really into you, she will not remove your hand from her leg. All that I'm not comfortable shit, that just goes for guys she's not into. If she's into you, the hand will stay on the leg, right? So I'm talking to her, and I put the hand on her leg. She removes the hand on the leg. And so I probably, I didn't even like, react to it. I just noticed it, because I noticed these things as as I'm doing these things, right? And sometimes I do it on a subconscious level because I didn't even realize I touched her like that. It was just kind of like, that's what I've always been doing when I talk to chicks. I get kind of touchy-feely, right? So she moves the hand, so then I'm like, okay, I guess she don't want me to touch her, right? She's not feeling it like that. So I wasn't touching her anymore. So then I spoke to her. I kept talking to her for maybe about like another minute, right? And then I was like, hey, it's nice meeting you, and I'll have a good night, whatever, right? So I leave that interaction because I'm like, I'm not going to waste any more time on this girl because she is not into me enough for me to, to bother. You understand? Because if she was, she wouldn't have moved my hand. Do you understand what I'm saying? So fast forward later that night, I talked to this other girl sitting next to her, and we talking for a little bit, maybe for like a minute or two. And, it was one of those places where the music was sort of loud. So you had to get real close to the person to talk and sort of hear them effectively. So I'm sitting with her, and I get close to her, and I'm talking to her, and I put my hand on her leg, right? Now, I'm talking to her, and she didn't move my hand. So I have my hand on her leg while I'm talking to her, and then I start to slowly like take my thumb and I'm rubbing my hand back and forth, on her leg or whatever while I'm talking to her, right? So then we're talking a little bit, and this is like 2-3 minutes into the conversation. My hand is still on her leg. I haven't moved it. And then she takes her hand, puts it on top of my hand while it's on her leg. So now I have my hand on her leg, and she has her hand on top of my hand, which is on her leg, right? So we're talking, whatever, and we're flirting heavy and shit. And then next thing you know, we start making out, right? So the difference between the first girl and the second girl is the first girl, she wasn't really feeling me like that, which is why she removed my hand. The second girl, she was feeling me enough to where she didn't mind that my hand was on her leg because she was feeling me. Do you understand? To the point where she started to touch me, right? Now, we're flirting, and we start kissing or whatever. So I screen both of them, and the second one, I'm seeing that her response is her showing that she's interested by her actions. Do you understand? But notice I'm doing both of these really fast. Because the first girl, I started talking to her for a minute. The second girl, I was talking to her for like a minute or two before I put my hand on her leg. And then I was like, okay, she's keeping it there. So therefore, there's some sort of interest there. But the reason why I say do it fast is because you don't want to waste time. Because this is what can happen to you. You could be talking to a girl for a long time, and you won't even know that she's not that interested in you, or she might have a boyfriend, or she's gonna front on that, or like all goofy and shit, right? So the thing is, and I actually talk about this in my DVD Reclaim the Game, so make sure you guys go get that at MrLocario.com. I talk about how when you're talking to a girl and you touch, you understand? And it's just light touching. It's nothing crazy. You're not grabbing some girl's ass and her titties and all that other stuff. So you could, touch her hand, touch the side of her shoulder or whatever, and all this other stuff. And, me in this situation, I was touching the leg because I was sort of just near that area. And I was like, okay, let me just, try this out, right? And now if a girl is not feeling it, she moves your hand or she moves away, then, she moves away, and it is what it is. You don't want to keep grabbing her at that point, right? But, you test it out. You screen her to see how her interest is, how much interest she has. And the reason why I say I do it fast is because you will waste a lot of time. I had a friend who, he was, he always would go out and talk to girls in the street, whatever. So one day he met some chick and they were talking for at least an hour. Like they talked for an hour, walked around, hung out for a little bit. So then he was like, yo, I got to go, let me get your number. We should get together again sometime. So this chick talking about, oh, I got a boyfriend. So this guy is walking around with this whole chick for a whole hour, talking to this girl and flirting, doing all this other stuff. And now she talking about she got a boyfriend. You see what I'm saying? This is why you got to screen them fast so that you don't waste time with them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is why it's important to screen them and test them fast. Now, I'll give you another example of screening the chicks to see if they like you, right? And this is kind of like a thing where, let's say you get the girl's number, and a lot of guys go through this where you're trying to call the girl and hit her up and, ask for a date or whatever like that and all this other stuff, or tell her, hey, let's go on a date or whatever. I hate to say ask, because you should always, say, hey, let's do this, let's make this happen or whatever when you're talking to a girl. You understand? The only thing you can technically ask her is if she's free, but you don't say, hey, is it okay if we go on a date? Like, don't do that shit. But anyway, you understand? But this other example I'll give you is I was at another spot, and I was, I got a couple girls' numbers or whatever, right? So let's call these two girls I'm about to talk about girl A and girl B, just so you can keep track of the story, right? So I meet girl A and girl B, same night, got both their numbers, right? So the day after I met girl A and girl B, I text girl A and I text girl B, and I said, hey, yo, it was real nice meeting you last night. Are you free this Friday? We should get together, right? I text the same thing both to girl A and girl B. So girl A was like, oh, hey, I'm not free this weekend, maybe next weekend. And girl B basically sort of said the same thing. It was like, oh, I'm not free this weekend. So they both got back to me and said they weren't free that weekend, right? So I text both of them back and I said, okay, cool. Let's touch base this coming up weekend and we'll get together, right? Now, I wait a week, hit them back as the weekend is approaching, hit back both girl A and girl B. So I text girl A and I'm like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow evening at around 7? Are you free to get a drink? So, and this is the funny part, because I text girl A and I text girl B this weekend, the weekend that came up, I text both of them literally at the same time. I text girl A, and then right after I text girl A, I text girl B, and I text them both the same thing. I said, hey, are you free tomorrow to get a drink, right? Now, girl A replies back to me and says, yeah, I'm free. And let's get together. Basically she's like, let's do it, right? Now girl B replies and she says, who's this? Now I'm like, oh my God. So girl A is like, yeah, let's do it. Girls B is like, who's this? And they both sort of text me or back at the same time, right? And what I thought was interesting about this was because it shows the dynamic literally in real time as it's happening, the different sides of the spectrum. Because you have girl A who is showing the interest, because she's like, yeah, let's do this, let's go. And girl B is showing low interest. You understand? Because she's like, who's this? Now, the reason that's low interest is because, remember, I text both of them, a week prior. So we've spoken, you understand? Or we've texted each other, you understand? And so the girl who's like, who's this, which is girl B, she most likely didn't save my number in her phone. And so when I text her, she's like, who's this? And the thing is, since she most likely didn't save the number on the phone, that shows low interest. And it shows low interest because she would have been at least thinking about me within that week, anticipating me calling or her calling me to make something happen for that weekend. You understand? But since the interest was low, she replies, "Who's this?" Right? And girl A is like, "Yes, let's do this." So what I'm saying here is this, is that, what you want to do is you want to, as soon as possible, or you want it to be a flow where you're like, okay, I meet the girl, I see if she's interested or whatever. Let's say if you're at a bar or something and you touch her to see if she's interested, or let's say you get a situation where you just get a girl's number, you hit her up as soon as possible to see how she's going to respond to you, if she's going to actually agree to a date as soon as possible. You understand? To see if her interest is there, right? Because again, like I said, the girls who are into you, they will make it easy for you. Because when I text girl A and girl B, girl A was like, "Yeah, let's do it. What time? Let's go." She was ready. You understand? And I was like, "Okay, meet me here at this time." And then she replied, she was like, "Cool, got you. I see you tomorrow and looking forward to it." Whatever, right? Girl B is like, "Who's this?" You understand? So who do you think I'm going to even, deal with? Girl A or girl B? Girl A, of course, right? And again, this is why I tell you guys you have to talk to multiple women. Because let's say if girl B was the only girl I talked to, and the only girl that I text, and then I text her again, and I'm like, "Yo, let's get together," and she's like, "Who's this?" Do you understand? And so, what happens is a lot of you guys get into situations with girls like that, and then that becomes your whole experience, or becomes most of your experience in your dating life. So this is why you need to date more women and screen more women and screen them as fast as you can, so you can get it popping with the ones who really like you, right? So it's basically, it should go like this. You meet them, you screen them, and then if they're not cooperating, you leave them. You understand? You get rid of them, you stop calling them, you delete their number or whatever, right? You meet them, you screen them, and then if they're not cooperating, you leave them. You just say, "Okay, I'm done." Because what you want to do is you want to have a rotation of you talking to girls, seeing if they're into you as soon as possible, so that if they are not, you can get them out of your phone, get them out of your flow. Do you understand? You want to have the flow of where you're seeing them, you're trying to make something happen as soon as possible, so that if it's not going to go down, then you could just get rid of them, so you're not wasting any more time. A lot of times what happens is you waste a lot of time and energy on women who don't want you, women who don't like you, women who are playing games, women who don't know what they want. And then, it's so much energy that you're putting in. And then, it's not anything that's really helping you, and it's just going to drain you. And then what's going to happen is you're not going to be motivated to talk to any other girls, because you're going to be like, "Oh man, these girls out here are just playing games." Because what happens is you get with a girl, or you get a girl's number, you call her, and she's like, "Oh, maybe we could do this." And you're like, "All right, I'll call you." You call her again, and she's like, "Well, I'm not sure this week, maybe next week." And you try to call her, and she doesn't pick up, or you text her, she doesn't text you back, and you're doing all this back and forth. And it's like, if she was really into you, she would make it easy. She would see you. She would make time to make it happen. Try to, get shit popping as soon as possible. You understand? And you have to screen and test these chicks to see if they are interested in you. Because trust me, you're going to waste a lot of time dealing with girls who are going to be on some bullshit. You feel me? So that's it. I'm out of here, guys. Remember, the truth is inside you. Peace. I'm gone. All right, now before you click off this video, I need you to do 3 quick things. First, I need you to click the link below to send me your questions, because if you have any questions, I'll answer them in a video. 2, click the link under that to get my free ebook, The Magnificent 10 Crucial Dating Tips for Men. It gives you 10 tips on how to attract beautiful women. And number 3, I want you to click the link under that to go to badboymembership.com, where you get 45 through 90-minute audio and video tutorials every month. Hey, what's up? It's dating and life coach Mr. Locario. Go to badboymembership.com and master the dating game by joining my Bad Boy membership program. In this program, you'll receive 45 through 90-minute, easy-to-follow, step-by-step dating advice tutorials that's guaranteed to help you attract, date, and have sex with beautiful women. Join the Bad Boy membership today by going to badboymembership.com. That's badboymembership.com.